This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and the year-end videos continue. We're going to talk about the games that I'm looking forward to in 2018. There's a lot of games that are or may be coming out in 2018 to look forward to. So I'm going to go over I'm going to try to just keep it to 5, but there's so many games that I'm interested in. I am a person who, while I do have my favorite genres, I'm not just beholden to those. There are a lot of things that look like they would pique my interest from a story standpoint, some maybe from a technical standpoint, things like that. So I'll try to keep this as short as possible, but it may just blow the fuck up because this has been a great year in gaming. 2017 has been amazing, and the things that have been announced over the year that are coming in the future makes it look like it's going to be an amazing 2018 and beyond. So, I mean, personally, as an older gamer, this is one of the best times ever to game. As much as I'm beholden to nostalgia, I have no problem with saying that gaming is at a high point right now, and it's really, really great. You know, I don't see how people can complain the way they do, to be quite honest. But then I look at things from a different perspective. My perspective is all about what is it that looks enjoyable or that's interesting. I don't let the side stuff cloud my vision as much. I just want good, fun, creative games. That's all. So we're going to start off with a pretty interesting game in the creativity area, which is the game by Joseph Ferris, who is a nut. That guy, if you remember the guy who was cursing and screaming on the Gaming Awards, that's him, Joseph Ferris. His game is called A Way Out. It's basically a co-op game where you and a friend go through an adventure of two convicts who escape jail. They're the people who made Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, which was a well-received game. This looks very, very interesting. I'm hoping that it's good, especially with the passion that this guy puts behind it when he's talking about gaming in this game. I hope he knocks it out the park because it's one of the games that I'm really, really looking forward to. It's supposed to come out March 23rd, I believe. Yeah, that's what it says. I actually have a website open up to look at some of the dates for releases for some of these games that I'm anticipating. But March 23rd, A Way Out, definitely looking forward to that. And apologies if you hear my mouse wheel clicking in the background. I'm going up and down to make sure I can get the dates of some of the games that I'm anticipating. Oddly enough, I'm anticipating Far Cry 5, which comes out March 27th, 2018. They pushed it back. It was supposed to be a 2017 game, but Ubisoft decided to push it back. I think that was a smart move, especially with the momentum that Assassin's Creed Origins has right now. They can sustain that, and it gives them time to fix some things, work on things. I'm always a fan of companies delaying things just to perfect their games. In my opinion, Ubisoft has had a very solid year, not just with the Assassin's Creed game, but with the way that they've supported some of their other games through the year, games that people don't necessarily care for. Like The Division was a game that people didn't care for. Ghost Recon Wildlands was a game that people didn't necessarily care for, but through time, as they kept supporting them and doing things, without making such a huge fuss about it that they said they were going to do for these games, both of those games seem to have built their communities very well now, and are kind of well received. They're actually starting to climb as far as the interest that gamers have in it. So, Ubisoft's been solid. They also did the Rabbids game that came out. I came out of nowhere and did great. So
I'm expecting Ubisoft to do great things with Far Cry 5. I think they're going to switch it up enough to differentiate it in a way that they didn't do between Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4. The setting seems like it's going to be cool. I know it's going to piss a lot of people off because it's set in the rural area of the USA, and it's about extremists, and those people ain't going to be, they're not going to be friendly about their reaction. But it looks like it's going to be interesting. I've never played a Far Cry game, so, and the fact that this is actually the one that's drawing me in is pretty damn cool. Of course, I'm looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 2. I know I've said this, and if you haven't heard this, warning, I'm about to say something that a lot of you are going to think is blasphemous, but it's just the way I feel. I'm the person who thinks that in some ways the Grand Theft Auto series has been overinflated because they generally don't change beyond setting. They add some stuff like with 5, they add the 3-player mechanic thing. The writing is always solid, but for the most part, it's pretty much, paint by numbers game in my opinion. They're good games. They're great games in some cases, but in my mind, they just don't like blow my mind like it does everybody else. That being said, yes, I know Red Dead Redemption is kind of like a reskin of the GTA formula, but I feel like the world, like playing the first Red Dead, the world and the way that the characters were developed and things like that were much more satisfying than what you got in the GTA game. And I'm very much looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 2 satisfying me even more. Hopefully it will. We'll see. But I feel like it's going to be one of the best games, probably up there for best game of the year, as Rockstar games always are. I just can't wait for that, to get more of that environment. It's a really, really cool environment. So definitely looking for that. I don't believe that Red Dead Redemption 2 has a release date. It's just coming in the spring 2008, so look forward to that. But yeah, definitely looking forward to Red Dead Redemption. Another game I'm looking forward to, Spider-Man. The game looks great. Insomniac looks like they've put a lot of work into that game. I love the visuals. I love the way the action looks. And being, somebody who used to read comic books all the time growing up, of course I want to see the comic book characters come on screen and be done right. We don't get that many comic book games that are actually done right. And I'm hoping that Insomniac does not drop the ball and mess this one up. But those are my most anticipated games for next year. Honorable mentions. The honorable mentions list is going to be longer than the actual list because there's some games that I'm curious about, but I can't say that I'm definitely locked in, such as, this is going to offend some people, but God of War. It's said to come out in early 2018. Look, I enjoyed the hell out of the God of War games that I played in the time that I spent with 1, 2, 3, and Ascension. That being said, I am the villain in the room who has always felt like Kratos was a horrible character. He was a great vessel to play as because the action in those games was phenomenal. The visuals, the moment, the what the fuck moments, great. But this is going to be more of an action adventure type. This is going to be a kind of beat 'em up, hack and slash like the old ones are. It seems like they're going to tell a deeper story about Kratos, an older Kratos who has a son, and try to flesh him out as a character more, which I'm looking forward to. Yes, don't come at me. I know Kratos does have a backstory. I feel like his backstory is not that great. Just to sum it up short, I feel like he's an angry man who makes mistakes and doesn't take responsibility for them and takes it out on everybody else because he's a fuck up. That to me makes him a bad character. I'm not saying he's a hollow character, but it doesn't make him that great of a fucking character to me. That's all. That's just my opinion. That being said, I think we're gonna get a deeper understanding of Kratos now, and see a different side of him, possibly. So I'm very curious as to how that's gonna go. Anthem. This is a game that doesn't necessarily have a release date either. I believe they said it's gonna be fall of 2018, but I'm curious to see how that shapes out since it seems to be taking from the Destiny mode. Really would like to see what they're going to do with that, especially after the hard year that EA has had. EA's been getting really worked over by people ever since that Star Wars Battlefront 2 thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to proceed. Oh, and I guess the Mass Effect Andromeda thing too kind of got them hit, which I didn't think was a bad game. I just think that, again, certain things that they did kind of sullied the way that people receive that game. So, yeah, we'll see what Anthem does. Days Gone. Curious to see what Fox The Last of Us kind of will do. It just feels like The Last of Us in a different scenario to me with the bounty hunter dude and all of that. Yeah, I agree with what the article that I'm looking at says. Zombies have been done to death, but it looks interesting enough for me to at least pay attention to it. Detroit Beyond Human is another one that I'm really curious about. Definitely like what I've seen of that. It seems like it's going to be another interesting story. Whether it'll be a good game or not, depending on what David Cage does with it. I enjoyed, gosh, I can't think of the name of the game. Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain was a really, really good game to me. So, I mean, we'll see with that one. Curiously enough, Crackdown 3, even though I don't own an Xbox, is something that I'm curious about because I want to see what the fuck Microsoft does with this. What is it going to be? This game has been announced since the Xbox was announced. The Xbox One was announced. It's gone through so much development, and they pushed it back. Now that they have the Xbox One, which can actually probably do the whole, thing they were talking about how like you use online to process the shaping and the tearing down of the world and whatnot. I'm curious to see where that goes. Another Microsoft game that I'm curious about is Sea of Thieves 2, because they've been hyping the hell out of that, and it's been delayed. Now it's going to come out in March. So we get to see exactly what that will end up being. I am curious about the Hideo Kojima game, Death Stranding. Only because I just want to see what the final product. I don't know if I'm going to buy that or not, but I need to know what the fuck that shit is. And of course, this is a game that probably isn't going to come out in 2018. It may not. Sony actually has a lot of games in development, so they be stacking the deck. Just like The Last of Us 2. That's the reason this is an honorable mention. Is the same reason why Death Stranding is an honorable mention, because we don't know necessarily whether these games are coming out next year. Same thing with Ghost of Tsushima. That looks really interesting. It's Sucker Punch doing a different type of game. We saw what Guerrilla Games were able to do when they took a turn from what they were known for. So will this be the same thing for Sucker Punch? They've already accomplished it once. They took a turn from the Sly Cooper games and made a great action-adventure game series in Infamous. Now they're taking a turn and doing this different genre, different area type of action-adventure game. So we'll see what they're going to do. But those are the honorable mentions, and those are the games that I'm looking forward to in 2018. Now, of course, as always, I would like to know what you guys think. So, to close it out, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Megas, and I'm out. Deuces.